opinion that's coming from your information that you provided to your doctor, from no other clinical sort of background and then looking into something. Correct?
From who looking into it?
WSIB.
Well, this is the clinical opinion of Kathy, based on my experiences and
reliance on that information and that opinion is from what you have provided.
Yes.
Okay, so WSIB is going to look at that as not a clinical sort of, you've got a broken leg and it's as a result of this and we're doing this. How does she make that assessment on the service or any organization?
The assessment's not on the service. The assessment's on my ability to deal with what I had to deal with the last time I was there.
Well, all I can say, Ryan, I'm not saying that you haven't experienced issues when you returned, and I'm not saying that other members haven't experienced issues, but I've got other members that have returned and they haven't had the same experiences.
Yeah, but some of them have, Lair, and some of them have and don't say anything. Like, and this is the point: is that it's. I think it's well documented that this exists. Some people have experienced it. I certainly have, and the risk of going back and experiencing it again is too great. And so this is the accommodation that's being asked for in order to ensure that that doesn't happen.
But Ryan, I'm just jumping in here before Bruce goes. What your doctor has said is that this is her clinical opinion of something that she can't have an opinion on because she has no other evidence than what you provided.
No, but I think the opinion is on what will happen if that's experienced again.
But what is the presumption that everybody else has a negative view or stereotype?
Sorry?
Is the presumption that everybody else in the workplace has a negative view or a stereotype?
No, I don't know what that doesn't make. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody. Certainly there are those people that do exist that do have it, and certainly I've experienced it. Like, is the assumption that nobody in the workplace has experienced that? And here's
that's irrelevant. You're correct, but which the doctor has stated in this is in regards to her clinical opinion of an organization. I think that's what their perception of this is.
Well, it's based on my experience. That accommodation request is the result of the experiences that I've had, not on their opinions of the organization. The things that I've had and I've experienced, and ensuring that experience doesn't happen again. That's what it's about. But the chance of running into another Worthman is unacceptable. And I'm being, people are, it's almost like you guys are saying to me, and I'm assuming, not that this is your opinion, but that this is the opinion of the service in WSIB, that these things that I've experienced are not real. Do I have that correct?
I don't think so. I don't think that's correct at all.
Okay. Then why isn't WSIB putting this to the employer and seeing what the employer comes back with? It's almost like WSIB is acting as judge on the validity of this accommodation request. Why is this being made into such a big deal? Why am I being, thrown through the ringer here in order for the employer to be, before the employer is even involved? Because if I understand this correctly, they haven't even been brought into it yet. I know you harp on that a lot, that, you've never seen this, it's never happened, but there's a first time for everything. And again, it's case by case.
If you are referring to the work setting,
yeah,
that Andre indicated, what exactly does quote-unquote work setting mean?
Work setting? Well, I mean, come on, guys, help me out a little bit here. Isn't that odd? Like, work setting? It's the other people in the room. Okay, well, let's talk about where I have been.
Location, or what is it?
Yeah, it's the people in the room. It's the when I park in a parking lot, who do I run into between my car and the office that I'm working in? If I'm in an office and it's like the intelligence office where there's 50 other people in the room, half of them hate me because I have PTSD, that's the work setting. Apologize for my frustration, but I'm sure you can understand it. Then we go to the other setting, the work setting, with Worthman, completely untrained, promoted 4 months before I got there, in a conflict with somebody who has PTSD, assigns the guy with PTSD to train me, and then amongst a bunch of other people who hate Brian and who talk openly shitty about him, and I'm stuck in this, and then I ask for help and I'm not given help. I mean, this is the work setting that I'm talking about. Can you send me out to a house where I could interview somebody about a fraud or some other thing? Sure. Can I do paperwork or administrative work that's police related? Absolutely, 100%. Could I even one day get back to the point where I'm in uniform pushing a cruiser? Potentially, and that would be really nice. But I can't get there if every time I try to come back, this is the setting that I'm put into. Where people, I mean, and let's face it, guys, let's not beat around the bush here. Policing isn't like any other job, right? Where it's like, in terms of the stigma towards psychological mental health, and I think this is well documented. Am I not, like, does this not make sense?
I'm finding it hard to digest some, Ryan. It's not like, for example, you said you may work in an area with 50 people and 25 will hate you because you have PTSD.
Right.
Have I seen conflict between individuals that have had PTSD and then returning back to work? Absolutely. Your situation is definitely one of them. But to say 50% of the people... Well,
okay, we're getting hung up on some semantics here. I never... I mean, that was in general, right?
Like, bringing up that there's a large percentage of the service that is going to not allow you to have a successful...
Okay, let's change that then, Larry. Let's say it's 5%. Let's say it's 2%. Does it really make a difference? The point is that having another a scenario like I've already been in is the part that is unacceptable, that can't happen.
But that would be true to almost every single walk of life then.
No, and that's what I said. I said
every single walk of life,
no.
Every single profession there is, not just policing, every single profession, whether it's teaching or millwright or whatever, and this is very well documented, there's misnomers in regards to mental illness.
Yeah,
so
Larry, but big difference.
Big depression or whatever they're dealing, they say, oh, they're just lazy or whatever the issues are.
Sure.
So it doesn't matter what the walk of work it is. We can't determine what every single individual that works for the service, what their mental makeup is going to be able to deal with somebody that's having an issue with mental illness. And yours being PTSD. Regardless of whether it's depression or anxiety or whatever the issues are, and regardless of what the profession is, that's something that's dealing with that sort of issue of mental illness itself. And that is extremely well documented. I mean, the province is spending huge money in regards to advertising, in regards to that, in any walk of life. I mean, Bell does Bell Let Talk Day, and it talks about people reintegrating back into the workplace and the difficulties that happen. So I can totally appreciate that.
That's fine, but I think it's more prevalent in the police culture, and I think that and I've read about that. It all comes down to the culture of policing, why it's more prevalent in there. I don't think that we need to get into that. I don't really think that it's really relevant. The point is that that this exists. My reputation has been tarnished. People do know this about me. I mean, Blinky, right? I haven't seen him in a bunch of years, and that's the first thing out of his mouth to me. So, I think it's pretty reasonable and clear, right? And it kind of feels pretty lonely right here. Like I'm up against you guys as well. That's